Well, it's football season. It's exciting, to say the least. We're excited about this game, and you know, all the depth charts finally came out yesterday, and I was kind of looking at it, and I've been hearing about how young CSU is. They have 16 seniors on the two deep. We have 16 seniors. We have 6 freshmen in our two deep. They have 4 freshmen in the two deep. I'm not buying that they're not a good football team. They're a really good football team. Their offensive line kicked our butt last year. Dawkins ran all over us. They have a returning Mountain West Conference second-team all-conference quarterback that's really good. Defensively, Coach English knows what he's doing. 2 years ago when he was a defensive coordinator, they pretty much shut us down. Mike Bobo is an excellent offensive coordinator and head coach because he calls the plays. But Coach Friend, who runs their offensive line, I've known about for a long time, and I think they're one of the best offensive lines we played last year. I think they'll be one of the best offensive lines we played this year. The way they work together, their run schemes, they're an excellent football team. They have one of the best punters in America. They're a very, very good football team. It's going to be a tough, tough day for us. And I would say they've got just as much experience as we do. I know they're talking about their secondary, but they're all juniors. They played a lot of football at different spots. They're not like they're going out there wet behind their ears and never lined up before. Their receivers played in our game last year and made some plays against us. But I'm very impressed with their football team, watching them throughout the year last year and knowing that they'll be ready to play, and it'll be a heck of a football game. It's going to be a tough, tough, tough game for us. But our young men are excited about playing. I'll take any questions at this time.
Coach, your defense made a huge improvement in the passing game last year. I think it was from about 256 yards the year before to last year, just about 218 a game. What was the biggest difference in that unit against the pass? And then also going into this year, what gives you faith that group might even improve even more?
Well, one of the things is all those kids that played for 2 years, they were going to their 3rd year, and they were better and they were bigger, and they've been playing against a lot of good football teams. Number 2, we got more pass rush. We had more sacks. That's the key, harassing a quarterback. If he's on his back or he's in a hurry, you're going to be a better secondary. If you got to cover all day long, it's going to be tough to be good. So I think that was improvement. So we've got to be able to harass the quarterback in every game we play somehow, some way. And but I do think that those guys are very athletic, and I think they've had a lot of experience. Usually things that happen out there when you're young, they kind of bust it. During a game, they can kind of fix it in a drive. You know, you're not on the field, so they can kind of fix that. And, you know, you kind of see that with a point guard in basketball. When a point guard's good in basketball and he's experienced, he fixes it. He knows how to do it. The same way with our secondary. They got to all work together. I think that they'll do that again.
Mac, you mentioned Nick Stevens as a quarterback for CSU, but Coach Bobo's being a little coy about who his quarterback's going to be. And they bring in the transfer kid from Georgia. Since you don't know, how does that affect preparation? How do you approach a situation like that?
Well, Coach Bobo is an excellent head coach and been an unbelievable offensive coordinator for a long time. He's going to do what he does. And the young man that came in from Georgia knows his system. So I don't think the system will change that much. We've just got to be able to stop him. You know, my personal opinion, I think they'll play Nick Stevens. That's just me, but I don't know. But we'll be ready for whatever they do, and we've got to stop them, whoever walks out there. And, you know, that could change in the course of a game like it does in some games. So we're just getting prepared to be able to try to stop CSU's defense, stopping CSU's offense. And so it's going to be a tough task because their offensive line's good, and they're going to give it to Dawkins, and they're going to give it to Izzy, and here it goes.
Coach Sefo talked about what his motions might be getting back under center. What have you seen from him in camp, and then how eager are you to also see him after so long under center?
Well, you know, it's exciting. I really think it's a small miracle he's back. I really do. Maybe a big miracle. As many Liz Franks as you read about, and I've been around, you know, the doctors did a phenomenal job, our trainers, Item Holiday. You know, Sefo never really went home. He stayed. May semester, people go home. He was here every day. And then he would go to Portland. He has a passing coach since the NCAA in the past. They're going to change the rule this coming up year, it looks like, that we can work with guys in the off season with a football. He would pay his own money to fly to Portland and work with his passing coach to help keep everything going while he was down. And I think it's really helped his velocity on the ball. I think it's helped his accuracy. So he's just worked tirelessly, which is very special. And I'm excited he's back, and he's looked good out in practice, and I'm looking forward to him having the year that he's earned to have.
Shea Fields said he saw Cepho with a higher sense of urgency, and Cepho up here said his focus is heightened heading into his senior year. Do you see anything different about Cepho as he embarks on this final season?
You know, hearing him answer the question, I would have thought he would have answered it exactly the way he answered it, is all of you know this, and everybody in life knows this, when you're doing something you love and it's taken away, and you think, I might not be able to really do this like I could again, okay? That has to go through your mind. And then you're laying in a hospital bed, and then you're coming back, and you're on crutches, and you're trying to do, and you're thinking, wow, all the guys I came in with, all the blood, sweat, and tears, they might be gone, and I might have to wait another year. And then as it started to evolve and happen, that naturally gives you a better intensity, you don't take things for granted anymore. And I think that's what you see in Cepho.
Coach, the players have said they're just treating this like another game, even though it's a showdown. As the coach of this team, do you feel the pressure knowing what this game means for the entire state?
I think that with our fan base and their fan base, you know, if you go out to eat anywhere, you go do something, they're going to have watch parties and all that time. It's a game that lasts 365 days a year. You know, all the records stay with you and all that stuff, but it's not talked about as much. So I think the excitement of that and being an in-state rivalry game makes it very exciting, and it's something that's talked about all the time. You know, last year you didn't hear the first game for both teams talked about as much, brought up as much, talked about as much all the time. I think it's great for the state. I really do. I think it's great for football for the state. So I think that all of that adds an extra, if you can say pressure or just an extra heightened existence of it.
You talked very eloquently about what
I did. That's new for me.
Yes,
eloquently.
About what this comeback's meant to Cepho. Do you think that can actually rub off on teammates, or is that too much to expect?
No, I do. What they said about asking Shea saw that. They see that heightened intensity. They see that understanding. And, you know, when other people, when they see other people overcome things and the work ethic and the time they have to put into it, and they understand, basically, if you know your friend's hopes and dreams and you can help him reach his hopes and dreams, you're going to do a little bit more to help him reach his hopes and dreams. And that's what I see that Cepho has done with this team.
Okay, guy along the same lines,
yes.
but not the same position. But Addison has been through a lot the last couple of years.
Yeah.
He's now healthy and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeing something different out of him as he's ready to go?
Yeah, I see biceps and triceps, and he's bigger and stronger. Got a big neck. Yeah, I'm excited about watching him get back out there. And he's done well in practice. We've treated him kind of like an old vet in practice, though. We've he hasn't gone every day. He was coming back off a pretty rough knee injury, but he's gotten bigger and stronger, and I'm excited about seeing him get back out there. You know, we have a good thing that we have our 3 leading tacklers in the last 3 years back, so we'll be able to rotate those guys. All 3 of them are extremely bright. All of them can play both positions, and which is a good thing to have for you. So we'll look forward to watching him get back out there. There's no doubt. And I think the kids know it, too, because they've seen what he's gone through.
With that knee injury, when it happened last year, you guys thought it was just going to be a couple weeks. You thought he'd be out
right.
2-3 weeks.
Yeah,
and then he just
it ended up being a little bit more extensive than it was.
Did that make it harder for him mentally to kind of get through everything?
Well, I think that he was trying to come back, and then he couldn't. It just wouldn't come back right. And, so it was kind of a double whammy. Okay, you're going to be back, then now you're not going to be back. And so that was tough on him.
A lot of injuries along the O-line last year. Can
Yep.
you just talk about how these guys are looking this year, what your confidence is in them, progress they've made?
Well, they've had a good fall camp. We've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football there, had a lot of starts. So when they get out there, we'll have our 5 guys that go, and if something happens, injury-wise or whatever, we'll be able to put a guy in that has played some snaps, and I think that makes a big difference all the way across the board. But the offensive line, being able to know the calls, being able to handle the pressure, that will be a good thing for them, and they've all gotten a little bit stronger and a little bit more physical.
Coach, knowing that CSU's offensive line is experienced, they're returning 4 starters this year, how does that tie into the defensive game plan of stopping Dalen Dawkins and knowing that they're probably going to lean on the run game pretty heavily?
Yeah, they're going to run the football. Mike's always done a great job of finding ways to run the football, and they ran it really, really well on us last year. That was a big part of their game, and that's something that we've got to be able to slow down. I still think they're going to make some runs because they run it well and their line's good, but we've got to be able to slow it down. We've got to be able to not give up a couple explosive plays like we did, and it's going to be a tough night. It's going to be a tough night. Our D line's got to come to play. They kind of pushed us around. They pushed us around last year.
Mike, 2 years ago, you guys lost the opener to CSU, and then last year you stubbed your toe at Hawaii. As a coaching staff, did you guys look at your preparation entering this opener, and did you tweak anything? Did you see a need to change anything? I know college is different.
Right.
You don't get a chance to play preseason games, so it's hard to, I guess, identify what your strengths and weaknesses are when you go against each other. But did you guys do anything different to try to get a better performance in this opener?
That's a good question. We have changed practice around a little bit. The one good thing is we don't have the long trip. But you're exactly right. CSU kicked our butt 2 years ago and in the opener. So we have looked at that. It's a little interesting week for us this week, which I had to look at. Usually we only have like a couple days of school and we've had 2 weeks of school. So that's kind of changed our practice schedule. And hopefully that's been able to, in a way, I looked at making sure our legs were a little fresher and that type of thing. So now with school starting, we didn't have as much time to practice, that type of thing. So I was naturally going to do that anyway after looking at last year, but I felt like with the class schedule and all that, we couldn't practice as long. You have smaller weeks, and so hopefully we'll be fresher on our legs. So I did look at that hard.
Any final questions? Coach, just curious on this one. By now you may have heard of the unfortunate passing of former Air Force quarterback D. Dowis yesterday.
Wow.
Maybe you didn't know.
No, I
apologize
didn't.
then. But I was wondering, because you were a college football player at the same time, wondering if you had any memories of him or if by chance you got to meet him as your coaching career got going?
Oh, wow. No, of course I know who D. Dowis is, and very, well, you kind of hit me off guard here. I feel for his family. He was kind of the guru quarterback there for a while, and you watched what he did, and it was pretty amazing. I don't know him personally. I know that the Air Force family would be down and very instrumental young man in Air Force football, to say the least, and a name that you knew nationally. So I did not know that. I feel bad for that, and that's a tough thing. I know they'll honor him well, though.
As a coach, you have to love the players you run out of the tunnel with.
Yeah.
All the time. How much more talent do you have around you running out of the tunnel?
Yes.
This opener than 3 openers.
Yeah, that's a great question. I really like this football team. I've said that a lot. I get excited when I talk about this football team. This, by far, the most talent we've had in the 4 years I've been here, the best football team we've had. And so I'm excited about seeing what they do. Now we got to go do it on Saturdays. And so we've got to transfer that into doing it on more Saturdays than we have in the past. And or Friday nights or Thursday nights or whatever. When college football, it used to just be Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, right? And everybody used to wear the same uniforms, correct? So, but I'm excited about this team, and it's all evolved, and I'm really happy to see what they do. We'll have some tough moments. We'll have some exhilarating moments, and so watching these young men kind of grow up in front of my eyes has been fun to watch. Of course, I'd like them to grow up a little bit faster on the field than we have, but I do feel like this team can make that directional step in the right direction.
Any last questions? Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.